Kings and queens who were terrible people do not only exist in movies and TV shows, like Game of Thrones. Antiquity hides shocking stories about royalty who were extremely cruel to their people. Hundreds of convictions and barbaric punishments, tortures and terrifying deaths are the legacy left by royals who did not deserve their status and power. Today I present the 5 most cruel kings and queens in history. I'm DeLorean Edgar and this is Fear the Weird. Do you believe there is more to life than what we are told? Do you have burning questions about hidden and controversial topics? Subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification to unravel the mysteries of life and the universe. In the year 1883, Rapalalone, the Queen of Madagascar, who was considered the most cruel queen in history, committed a series of shocking and horrible acts of violence. Those who weren't faithful to her would be ordered to eat 3 chicken skins and a poisoned nut. If they did not vomit, it would be proof that they were not loyal to the queen. Rapalalone was merciless even towards her own lover, who was beheaded for not accepting this punishment. The queen not only banned religious freedom in her country, she would have any foreigner killed for exposing the locals to other beliefs other than their own. Many fled and others ended up being arrested, tortured and eventually executed. At one point, she ordered 15 Christian missionaries to be hung by ropes from a cliff, and she cut the support herself, which killed them all. In addition, she cooked Christians alive, impaled French enemies from a battle, and laid them on the beach to scare people. This cruel woman organized a buffalo hunt with approximately 50,000 people from her kingdom, in which 10,000 died of starvation in the 4 months of hunting, but no buffalo was harmed. Could this hunting be a great farce? She is believed to have been responsible for the deaths of 2.5 million people during her reign. Even at her funeral, a powder keg accident killed several spectators. Many consider this an apotheotic end to a life of so many tyrannies. Terrifying, don't you think? Murad IV, son of Ahmed I, the Emperor of Turkey, took the throne from his father at just 11 years of age. When he was born, the whole kingdom was under attack, and whilst growing up in the midst of all this, he ended up adopting the violence in his actions. In 1638, he gladly watched the population being slaughtered in a war against Azerbaijan. Murad was well known for applying death sentences for minor offenses such as juveniles who consumed coffee, wine, tobacco and opium, which were prohibited at the time. About 100,000 people were coldly executed for disrespecting him. In the late 1630s, the emperor began to fall ill. Rumors circulated that, on the verge of his death, he would have ordered the execution of his own brother, Ibrahim, who was suffering from psychological disorders. The Sultan had already ordered the killing of another 4 of his brothers. Ibrahim, luckily, lived in prison throughout his childhood, although he was always afraid of being killed. He only survived into his adolescence, thanks to his mother's interference. Murad IV died of cirrhosis in 1640, at the age of 27, before Ibrahim could be murdered. The Roman Emperor Heliogabalus, at just 14 years old, had a reign full of perversities. He was partying with a lot of orgy and had relationships with partners of both sexes. Some accounts confirm that he enjoyed dressing up as a woman and prostituting himself in his own palace. He continued to disrespect religion, having been married 6 times, once to a man. He demanded sexual favors from courtiers who later became his lovers. It is also argued that Heliogabalus insisted on being seen with other lovers several times. That's because he was hoping that his husband would apply some physical punishment, as a form of masochism. In addition, he made human sacrifices, drowned people, ordered him to put poisonous snakes with them while he ate giant banquets, and watched the whole scene. Finally, he even built a tower to encourage people who were interested in taking their own lives to throw themselves out of it. At the age of 18, he was murdered for his rebellious behavior. His cousin took over the empire. At just 19 years old and already declared president of Haiti, Jean-Claude turned the country's regime into rebellion. Thousands of people fled, and of those who remained, many were killed and others tortured during the transition of government. His lifestyle was very luxurious, given the enormous poverty the rest of the population lived in. Jean became involved in drug trafficking and even sold body parts of dead Haitians. It is estimated that he embezzled between $300 and $800 million during his government. Even so, his rule continued for many years. Baby Doc's regime lasted from 1971 to 1986 and was just as brutal and corrupt as that of his father and predecessor, François Duvalier, Papa Doc. On the 4th of October 2014, Duvalier died of a heart attack at the age of 63. Countess Elizabeth Bathory was one of the only female royal to become a serial killer. After seducing the peasant women, mostly villagers, to her fortress with the promise of work as domestic servants, the proposal soon turned into a scene of horror and the mutilations began. Cut fingers, needles stuck under the nails, beatings with bats and barbed whips, burning hands and cold baths in extremely cold climates were some of the forms of torture carried out by the Countess, according to the historical archives of the city of Budapest. Sadistic abuse sessions ended with girls starving or freezing. Bathory was accused of torturing and killing 80 girls, but historical accounts claim that around 650 people were killed. In the most famous legend, the Countess would have beaten a servant and discovered that the spilled blood reduced the signs of aging on the skin. From then on, the habit of bathing in the teenager's blood would have emerged. These horrifying acts make the likes of King Joffrey look kind compared to those five, who are certainly among the cruelest rulers in history. Leave your comments below and subscribe for future videos. See you next time.